Hello students, welcome back to my channel. Once again, the topic for today's video is effect of dilution on conductance. Before going into the topic students, whoever is watching for the first time, please subscribe the channel, like the video and share with your friends. Okay, it's my request. Please like the video so that it will be shared. Okay students. So what is this effect of dilution on conductance? We all know that conductivity of a solution is due to the presence of ions in the solution. Okay, only in the solution we find ions students, and because of these ions we can say that we can determine the conductivity of a solution. That is the first sentence here. Conductivity of a solution is due to the presence of ions in solution. Okay. Now, greater the number of ions in a solution, greater will be its conductivity. Blindly, you can write this sentence. Okay. So, greater the number of ions, greater will be the conductivity. Now, on dilution. What is meant by on dilution? Suppose if you add some water to the solution, what happens? Dissociation of the electrolyte increases. Okay, so this already we have learned students. On dilution, dissociation of the electrolyte increases. So what if the dissociation of the electrolyte increases? What happens? Number of ions increases. If number of ions increase, what happens? Conductivity also increases. So these are all interrelated students. And you also know that conductivity depends on mobility of ions in the solution. Okay, so mobility means movement of ions in the solution. So on dilution, what happens? The distance between the ions increases. That means the positive and negative ions will be moving far away from one another. Hence what happens? The attractive forces between the opposite ions decrease and hence they can move freely. Okay, the movement becomes easy students. When on dilution, the distance between the ions increases and hence the attractions or the attractive forces between opposite ions decreases, by which the ions can move freely. Now the mobility becomes easy. Therefore, what we can say? Conductivity increases by the mobility of ions on dilution. Okay students. First, due to the presence of ions in the solution students. Next, on dilution, the number of ions increases. Hence, conductivity also increases. And also one more factor, conductivity depends. It depends on mobility of ions. When the mobility of ions will be easy students on dilution. Distance between ions increases. Hence, attractions between opposite ions decreases, by which they can move freely. This we all know. Hence, conductance increases by the mobility of ions on dilution. Till here understood students? Next. But the specific conductance of a solution. You all know what specific conductance of a solution is. This also I have explained in the previous video students. Okay. Now, the specific conductance of a solution. So, how does it vary with the dilution? It decreases with the dilution. Till now we have seen conductivity increases on dilution. Why? Because the number of ions increases and also the mobility of ions increases. But here you can observe that specific conductivity of a solution falls with the dilution. What is the reason for this students? The number of ions per cubic centimeter of an electrolyte decreases more and more on dilution. Okay students, you should underline this point. The number of ions per cc of an electrolyte becomes less and less on dilution. This is the reason why specific conductance of a solution is decreasing with the dilution. Although the number of ions increase with dilution. The number of ions per cc of the solution, that means per unit volume of the solution, goes on decreasing with increase in dilution, because Here the reason is mentioned, students. Increase in number of ions on dilution is much less than increase in volume of the solution. Okay, so on dilution, what is happening, students? Volume of the solution is being increased. Okay, so when increase in number of ions is compared with increase in volume of the solution, it is very less when compared to increase in volume of the solution. It means what? Number of ions. This when we observe on dilution. This is the reason specific conductance decreases with the increase in dilution. Okay, students? Why? Because even the number of ions increase with dilution. The number of ions per unit volume or per cc of the solution, when we observe, it will be decreasing on dilution. Okay. So that how we write increase in number of ions on dilution. When we observe, it is much less than increase in volume of the solution. This is the reason specific conductance decreases with increase in dilution. Okay, students, understood? But equivalent and molar conductance, these definitions also I have explained, students. You please kindly watch the videos. Equivalent and molar conductances. Here what do we observe? These two increase with increase in dilution, not like specific conductance. What is the reason? Because these depend on number of ions present in the whole solution. Specific conductance depends on number of ions per cc or per unit volume, students. But equivalent and molar conductance depends on number of ions present in the complete solution. So on dilution, what do we know? Degree of dissociation of the electrolyte increases and mobility of ions also increases. And therefore, the equivalent and molar conductance also increase. Okay, students, you understood the difference? Specific conductance and equivalent and molar conductances. So we are learning effect of dilution on conductance, right? So specific conductance, it is decreasing. Equivalent and molar conductances, these two are increasing on dilution. So how do we conclude? The equivalent and molar conductivities of a solution increase on dilution and they acquire a maximum constant value at infinite dilution. Infinite dilution means maximum dilution. What is maximum or infinite dilution, students? It is a zero concentration. The concentration becomes a zero because at this point we all know that the electrolyte dissociates completely, or the dissociation of the electrolyte is 100% complete, and the maximum values of equivalent and molar conductances are represented by lambda infinity or lambda naught and mu infinity or mu naught respectively. This is the final concluding sentence of equivalent and molar conductivity. Okay, effect of dilution on equivalent and molar conductivities. You should conclude with this point, students. Fine. Specific conductance falls with increase in dilution, whereas equivalent and molar conductivities increase with the increase in dilution. Okay. So this is all about, students, effect of dilution on conductance. So these points are sufficient for the exam also. So kindly take the screenshots of the video and prepare for your exam, students. Meet you in the next video with a new topic. Take care. Bye-bye.